I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weirdos in this one.
I get soft like a sailor snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow.
Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking
Talking
Tarot. And today we're talking about not lions, not tigers, but bears. Oh my! I said it in her little reel, her TikTok, whatever, and I've been remembering. I'm surprised I remembered. I had forgotten until this moment, and I was like,
glad you did.
But bears. I even wore my bear shirt that my daughter.
I do love it.
me.
I
Yeah,
love it.
it's
They're so cute.
I know, they're little teddy bears.
I love
and
teddy
I
bears.
know, they're adorable. And you know what? At some point in this episode, I was going to say this, so you know what we're talking about? I love teddy bears too, but as I was reflecting, doing the research in this episode, like, we really do sanitize this world for ourselves to the point of danger, because, like, we keep miniaturized versions of all the predators that could eat us
And they're
around
so
us all the
freaking
time.
cuddly.
They're so cuddly, they're so cute, they're adorable.
I mean, some people keep them as pets. Like,
I know.
So it's
I
like,
know. Both cats and dogs, and then, like, you know, we keep, like, predatory fish, sharks.
To be fair, though, like, you look at a bear, look at those ears.
Okay, no. I was just watching because I had to. The Grizzly Dude documentary.
Oh, God. What the fuck, dude?
Like, also,
Is
look,
that the guy that got
you
eaten?
say bears, their ears are so cute and cuddly. They're terrifying. Like,
You know, I want to sit there and be like, but the babies, no, that's even more
terrifying because
Like,
the mama's got to be close and she is not
so
cool.
you say the grizzly bear dude. Are you talking about the guy that got eaten?
Yeah.
God damn. So you...
The guy who got his woman killed?
Yeah, she didn't even want to
She didn't want to be there anymore. She was like, I'm afraid of bears. Like, how are you going to have a partner who is afraid of bears?
Mm-hmm. And then force
and then
them.
make them come out, or even let them join you. Like,
and she
sure,
told
if they want to be nice, but
this was her
don't
last
let him do it.
time.
She was going to leave him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh my God. You know what?
Like,
the thing is, though,
it's so sad. And the bears they are beautiful from a distance, but, like, look, y'all.
You can't.
I
get
know
away.
you know what I'm gonna fucking
Bears?
say. But when a bear is within arm's reach of you, and you are just a fleshy human being, I guarantee you, it's a different thought. I'm trying to get okay again.
I think I know they cause anxiety, right?
Well, I just, like, look, I used to love camping. You guys, like, remember seasons 1 and 2 where I was like, I'm not afraid. I'm part of and I'm being respectful of their space, and I'm being safe, and I'm not afraid. And then I had a bear this close to me, y'all. This close? This close. And he wouldn't go away. My husband threw rocks this size at him, hit him with some of them. He wouldn't go away. We happened to be camping without a GUN. And he wouldn't go away.
Was it a black bear?
It was a black bear.
Was he big?
Supposedly, they don't act that way. He was gigantic. For a black bear, he was very large for a black bear. He wasn't actually gigantic. But when you're sitting on your knees inside of a tent and you're looking at the top of his back, and when he stands up, he's taller than your 6'5" husband. He's still big, even if he's not big for a bear. He's big. But he was aggressive for a black bear. Black bears are supposedly not that aggressive.
One of my biggest fears, I think, is definitely getting in a bear attack, because you might as well kiss your ass fucking goodbye.
Well, not just that, but they're going to start munching.
They're going to actually eat you.
Yeah.
Like, they actually... I follow this page that my husband hates so much. It's a TikTok, so it'll read it out loud.
The one you sent me?
Yes!
With the videos
the fucking
of the
videos of the animal attacks. Do you know how many times bears have eaten people alive? And they start to chew and swallow your ass. Mm-hmm. Ass up. Literally.
Yeah, literally. And Like, I don't necessarily watch all those videos. I have seen a lot of them. I prefer the shark and gator ones.
I do too. Well, no, fuck the alligator ones, but the shark ones, and I say fuck the alligator ones because I'm like, that's too
terrifying.
real.
Yeah.
That's too real. That's scary. But the sharks, we're in Missouri. We're good. Like,
okay, I get you. Because the bears, that's even more scary because we're in Missouri.
Yeah.
But I grew up reading fucking Reader's Digest. Like, my parents had so many Reader's Digest. And anybody who read Reader's Digest from, like, the 80s and 90s knows that like, every single Reader's Digest I ever fucking read had a true life story of somebody mostly they survived the bear attack, but it's like their whole face got ripped off and sewn back on.
Oh, like, I just watched a chimpanzee one.
Oh, God, that poor guy. He
balls,
was so handsome.
His balls. I'm sorry, we're not talking about chimpanzees.
I'm sorry to be vain about it. You're all like, his reproductive organs, and I'm like, his face was so pretty.
I just, like, can't imagine, but, like, but anyway, so, like, bears.
Anyway,
yeah. So,
bears are super cool, though.
Bears are super cool, and I was also reading they're very important in Slav culture.
They are very important in Slavic culture.
And Native American culture.
Yes, very much so. And there is a huge overlap. So I love overlaps. There's a huge overlap in a lot of the Native American, Slavic, and Celtic practices, which just proves we are all one. Mm-hmm. But also everything is connected, and people have always been connected. But, like, bears are big on totems in both Slavic culture and Native American culture. And in Slavic culture, the god Veles, the god of the underworld and the waters and the animals, he is a shapeshifter, and he can shapeshift into multiple things, including bears and wolves.
I have this theory that, like, a lot of the Native American, like, tales of the monsters or whatever, like, stay within the fire because whatever's in the dark is looking back at you. It's an evil spirit. It's blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I fully believe it was a fucking bear. Like, a couple times it could be a fucking bear because you have to stay near the fire with the people because there's fucking giant-ass monsters.
Right.
Bears out there.
Absolutely. Well, and not just that, but, like, okay, so Native American, a lot of the cultures, obviously there's a bunch of different tribes, so can't pinpoint just one, but very much so a common thread in their belief system with bears is they're like gods. Mm-hmm. They are godlike. Yeah. They are gods.
They're wise.
So, yeah.
They know what plants to eat. I had read that, like, some Native Americans, again, there's so many tribes, you just can't, like...
Right.
Well, some Native Americans learned what berries they could eat because they watched the bears. So bears represent wisdom and knowledge of nature in certain Native American cultures. And healing because, again, they know these plants.
Yes. And I mean,
certain healers would wear the bear fur to try and connect with that healing energy.
Yeah, and any shaman that had bear energy was a good thing. It wasn't like they're aggressive, it's that they're healing and they're protective because bears in pretty much all cultures are associated with protection because of the fact that mother bears are so protective over their young because unfortunately male bears will eat the cubs so that the mothers can mate with them. Super interesting fact that makes this fact make a lot more sense. So bears have this thing where, okay, so like people, we ovulate, right? We ovulate at a certain time and then we can get pregnant. So bears, their ovulation is spurred on by the mating act. And some of them will ovulate, like depending on the breed, they will ovulate for up to 30 minutes after the act of mating so that the egg and the sperm can connect and create a zygote. But here's where it gets interesting, okay? So that's interesting. That in and of itself, very interesting and makes it more understandable because, like, here's my thing. Like, not every animal has mates just to...
Orion is invested in Brother Bear right now. My family is actually watching Brother Bear because we were doing bear research.
But it's so interesting because not only are the mating act that it makes them ovulate, which is why male bears really do that. Because I always wondered, like, she's not going to get pregnant unless she's ovulating, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Most likely, right? Because she's a mammal, right? As far as
Right.
I understand mammal biology, right? I'm not an expert. That's why we do these episodes. It's so much fun to learn. Once it's a zygote, it can just hang out for an indeterminate period of time.
Oh, that's right. They
until
can.
the
Yes, I had heard that.
circumstances are proper for
Uh-huh.
when she should give birth at the best
Isn't that
opportune
insane?
time. Yes.
Like, they can carry one of those their entire hibernation. I say hibernations in quotations because they don't actually like hibernate. I mean, they do, but it's not the same as like a turtle hibernating. You know what I mean? It's not the same as like them completely just dying and coming back like you know.
Oh, well, like, yeah, their body functions shut down. They have a fecal plug so they don't poop. Like, they don't breathe as much. They don't need to eat.
Right.
But that's also why they eat so much before winter. Those that do hibernate, like in our area,
so a mom
bears
could go
don't
to
hibernate.
sleep and wake up pregnant. Basically, like I had read
right.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
it was insane.
But like, and that's based on when the birth of the cubs will be most opportune for their survival, which is super interesting because it's like the body knows that the mom has X amount of fat and it's going to last X amount of time, and it's going to be okay
where they
to be pregnant at this one point.
I wonder if we watched the same documentary.
Oh, I read this.
Oh, you read this? Yeah, I watched a documentary where they talked about that. That was so crazy.
Yeah, no, the bear documentaries that Corey put on kept having cubs that died, and I could not. I could not. But that's the thing about bear cubs. When they have multiples, there's a reason for it, because probably only one's going to survive to adulthood. Although the brown bears, the female and male cub, well, one of the females and the male cub survived to olderness. And I don't know with the polar bear, I think just the male cub survived. One girl went right away, but when we were back at them at 3 years, she wasn't around, so I don't know. It's sad, y'all.
I didn't do much research on polar bears.
I just looked at, like, so bears are ursids, right? So, like, bears as a whole, like, because, you know, dogs are canids, right?
Right. So they're all, like, in that, like, category.
Right. So, like, the name Ursula means little she-bear, which I didn't know, but I love.
You know what bears I fucking love?
Pandas.
They're so silly!
Right, so, like, there's 8 breeds of bears, and 2 of them are different from the other 6, and pandas is one of them, and then the sun bear is the other one, and then the other 6 are the polar bear, the brown bear, the black bear, all that.
Pandas are just the silliest fucking things. They will literally just fall over. They will fall out of a tree. They will just, like, are they
They're so
aggressive?
chill. They're probably like,
are they?
They just got, like, all this tryptophan because of fucking, all that bamboo. It's just super chill. I actually have no idea.
Well, and that's
I didn't look super deep into any specific kind of bear.
They have to eat so much fucking bamboo because it's not very nutritious for them.
Well, and they eat the leaves. Like, they have the perfect jaws for eating the stalk, but they eat the leaves more because the leaves are more nutritious. But bamboo in and of itself is not very nutritious.
So they rarely attack humans. Like, pandas...
That's what I thought, but I didn't know because I did not look that up.
I mean, should you go up and hug one? Probably not.
No, definitely not.
But, like...
Do not be like that motherfucking grizzly guy who got bears habituated to people, and then people, like, shot bears.
Well, what I'm saying
do not
is, like,
hug a bear.
If you see a panda bear, is it going to pull a grizzly on you? No.
But it could. It could also be like, oh, you're so cute, squish, by accident. Animals think we're cute like we think they're cute, apparently.
They really do.
So, but also, if you think about a panda, not habituated to people, not trying to be a dick, and he's like, oh, boof. Do you still have a head? Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, really watching, like, the panda core videos I was watching, like, of all the pandas, it makes Kung Fu Panda make a lot more sense. Because, like,
that's so funny.
Like,
I didn't know where you were going.
I didn't think about it that way until I read the comments. Like, you see these videos of pandas and what they are, the way they are. This is why everybody was terrified when a panda became the Kung Fu master. Because, like, they really be lazy. And they really be, like,
Super chill.
chill.
I wonder what's in bamboo. Maybe
And I
there
don't
is a lot of
Koala
tryptophan.
bears are not bears.
They're also not chill. Not
No,
super
they're not.
chill
They will
at
rip
all.
your face off. They
And
are
poisonous.
the raccoons of Australia.
I'm so glad you brought up raccoons. So, not only are bears ursids, and there's the 8 kinds of them, they're also one of the Caniformia. It's basically the word California, but with an N and an M instead of an L and an N.
And what is that?
Okay, so Caniformia is the dog-like meat-eating mammals or predatory
Okay, so
mammals.
that would be like a fox.
So that would be not just like a fox, but like a fox, like a wolf, like a bear, like a dog, like a raccoon, like a seal, like a bunch of other animals where you looked at it and you're like, oh, it's kind of got a dog-like or a cute bear-like face. They all apparently have like the same kind of skull and jaw thing going on.
So I wonder,
So
do
they're
they have
all
like
Caniformia.
just
Just like, and the felines, there's a word very much like Caniformia for felines that are like that. Because there's all these little animals that you're like, that looks like a cat, but it's not exactly a cat. And it's not exactly a cat, but it is like the feliniformia or what the fuck ever. Because like there are specific characteristics of these specific kind of predators.
I have to ask you this question. This is going to be such a ridiculous question, but I have to know. If you had to get attacked by an animal, would you choose a lion or a bear?
I was hoping for more options.
I would probably choose a lion, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like they'd be more likely to kill you, like with their claws, even if it's just severing an artery. Whereas a bear will carry you around. Sometimes they'll carry you to their den to feed to their babies. I watched that. I mean, I didn't watch that. I watched that documentary, So,
well,
you're not getting away from either. You're not getting away from either, to be clear.
Look, I have read so many Reader's Digest where that's exactly what happened.
They get away.
The people, they survive. They're able to fend the bear off enough that the bear sees them as too much of a fucking problem, right? Because with a large predator, that's all you can fucking do is make it see you as too much of a problem. A big cat, you can actually think you're too much of a problem more than you can a bear. Because big cats have fewer defenses, so they really don't want you to fuck up their teeth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
God damn. So I've spent this whole episode. So here's, how I was talking about the camping and being more comfortable in the camping, and now I'm like kind of afraid. And so like the research for this episode, I've also been trying to mentally get myself back to being okay in a camping environment where I know I'm prey. And now I've felt like prey. And I'm still going back to that environment where I know I'm prey and I feel like prey, but I'm actually okay with it, like while knowing the thing, right? So I've been mentally for days like I'm okay with a bear eating. I'm okay with a bear eating me, even if I'm not dead first. I'm okay with a bear
not
eating
okay
me
with that.
without me dying. Well, I think last season I said like I'm fine with any animal eating me alive, or eating me but not alive. Like I want to have a heart attack before I get eaten or something, right?
Right.
Like I'm okay with it. I am, and I am. I do still want to have like some massive like thing where I don't know I'm being eaten. I'm trying to be okay with a bear eating me because I spend a lot of time in the woods with black bears, which are not supposed to predate on humans, but we had that big one come into our campsite and then not want to leave. So, and he was predating on us. If we had let our guard down, or if we had been asleep because we weren't on lay acid, that bear could have eaten us. Just period, point blank. I mean, he was right on the other side of a tent, and a tent ain't nothing to a bear's paws, okay? And I've come to terms with the fact that I'm prey, and I need to be okay with being eaten by a bear because that's an environment I'm in a lot. I need to be okay with it, safe about it, don't want it to happen, but I don't want the idea of a bear to scare me away from doing something that I love so much, I literally cry tears of joy, while I'm doing it. Because, like, on our first river trip, I'm dancing around in the river butt naked. I literally just started crying. I was so happy. And I want to keep that. So I'm going to go with bear because I've really been working on being okay with being eaten by a bear, but I haven't thought about a fucking lion at all, and I really don't want to be eaten by a fucking cougar because fucking they'll drag you up in a fucking tree and just stuff you into a crevice and just wait for you to die. Or come back later.
They fucking will.
They will.
Or they'll
Like
carry
big
your
cats.
ass up a fucking tree.
Yeah.
If they can.
If they can. Like, big cats and bears are terrifying. You know what's interesting about bears? And I don't know about big cats. We haven't done the episode yet. But bears have been around for, like we've talked about a lot of animals, right? Bears seem to have been around longer than most of the ones we've talked about so far. They're from, like, 55 to 33 million years ago.
Yeah, oh yeah. And they used to be fucking
huge. Like, the short-faced bear was ginormous.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, like, I didn't focus so much on, like, because I was just trying to find out more about bears, because I do know a fair little bit about bears, but not, like, as much, like, the whole egg thing and stuff. But, a lot of the stuff about them relates to the stuff that exists within spirituality, because, like, they're seen as protective. They are gigantic. Jesus Christ, that's scary.
And this is, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but this is, you probably can't, you can't fucking see it. But the short-faced bear,
I'll grab a screenshot and pop it in here.
Extinct, right? But it was native to North America. What if it didn't go as extinct as, like, much, like that's the shit that's stuck in the Native Americans, bro. That's the monster.
Maybe that's from their legends.
Their legends.
I don't think that the short-faced bear would be around because we fucking know about it. Like,
no, I mean that's from their legends. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But did you know? Because I didn't know this. Grizzlies used to be all over the fucking place, right up to the Kansas-Missouri border. Like, they ruled that side of the country.
The West.
The plains? Yeah.
In the plains? Mm-hmm.
There were, like, hundreds of thousands of bears that lived in that part of the country. Like, I spend a lot of time in this area that formerly would have housed a lot of grizzly bears. Like, specifically grizzly bears. I'm sorry, I don't think I said grizzlies at the beginning of that. I'm talking about grizzly bears, guys. Like, the big, scary... That's what everybody is still afraid of, are grizzly bears and polar bears kind of bears. And they were all over the West until we made our westward expansion. And once the guns, they
I believe.
and
we ruined
so
the West.
Sad. We ruined
the West.
We ruined the world.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I know. But, like, you think of the Wild West. The Wild West doesn't exist anymore.
Not for the most part, you are correct. But there are parts out west that are just so wild. Like, oh God, it's so gorgeous out there. But, most of the grizzlies that still exist are up in the mountains, and grizzlies are plains animals. They've had to adapt to the mountains. But because bears are so strong, they're great at climbing. Like, they're made to climb. Corey put on this one documentary where a black bear was teaching its cubs to climb and stuff in trees. And she's like, this bear, she's got to be at least 600 pounds. I mean, she's gigantic, lady bear. Shimmies right up this skinny fucking tree.
They be doing that shit. And the tree's like...
No, tree was not.
No, it wasn't.
No, because Corey's like, look at her, like, just shimmy the fuck up like it ain't nothing. And I said, look at that tree, let her shimmy the fuck up like it ain't nothing. Like, I was more surprised at the tree's endurance with the bear's weight, because they went way the fuck up. It was like those tall pines, and it was like 50 feet up in the air or something, like higher. Guys, that tree didn't give it all.
Bears are very cute, and, like, they're great. But, guys,
cute.
leave them alone. Like, this grandma got eaten. And it was so sad because she...
Was it the one where she was feeding them?
She was feeding the motherfucking bears, the baby bears, and a male bear came up and was trying to kill the babies. And so she yelled at the male bear to get away, and I think she threw a rock at it or something. That poor fat cat could barely. Has she done that before? She tried.
Only once. She's never made it to the top, but also scared the shit out of me because
She
what
ended
that
up
bear
opening
did,
up in the first place.
she did. It's so funny.
But what the bear did was open the fucking door.
Well,
pretty sure.
she was trying. She had stuck her walker out the core, like cracked the door open, and was using her walker to try and fight the bear off. So he just dragged her out with her walker, and that noise made me think of it. I was like, "Oh God, that scared the shit out of me."
Sad.
It was so sad. It's on one of the episodes of Fatal Attractions. I love that goddamn show.
So sad.
So
This
sad.
one girl, this was Russia, or this was at least in that area where they got big ass fucking bears. Big bears out there, okay?
Big bear.
Like big ass bears.
Big bear.
This girl was this girl was camping with her stepdad. Mom can't get a hold of stepdad. Dad, finally, she gets a hold of her daughter. When her daughter calls her, in the midst of being eaten by a bear and her cubs, the bear had already eaten the stepdad and came back and took her for later. So ate the stepdad in front of her, took her for later while she was trying to run away, like grabbed her. She's on the phone with her mom. Please call the cops. Please help. Please help. They're literally eating me. They're eating my legs right now. Like eaten alive, right? They already killed so and so, and then finally she's like, "Okay, mom, it doesn't hurt anymore. I love you." And then you could hear the bears eating her in the background of the video, and that was in Russia. Or in the background, and that poor mother. Can you imagine that mother?
Nope, I'd shoot myself right then and there.
How do you
like
not?
once I knew.
No, how do you not? Seriously.
Okay, I hope this doesn't get us banned. I wouldn't really shoot myself.
Yeah,
but
no.
like you guys know, it's a figure of speech. Like any mother understands me being.
No,
like
but
that.
I get what you're saying, because how do you listen to your daughter get eaten by a bear knowing that there's nothing you can do about it?
How do you sleep after that? How do you have any moment?
How do you live?
How do you have any moment where you are not blasting the loudest music into your head so maybe you can't hear that noise in your darkest places?
Because she lost not only her daughter, but also her husband. And then that brings us to the grizzly guy, who's a fucking dumbass.
Such a dumbass. Because, like, okay, one thing I didn't notice the last time I watched the documentary about him, there's a part where, like, okay, so
he wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay, so yeah, he absolutely wasn't supposed to be there. But his thing was he's there to protect these bears, okay?
From what?
Now, he has habituated these bears to people being around, and he's like, no, you don't do that. No, that's not okay. No. Like, they're fucking dogs. Which, I understand it at the same time. No, sir. But there's one part where these people are coming up to the shore. I don't even think they're there to look at bears. They're just, like, taking a break from a boat trip, and they've come up to the shore. But because he's habituated these bears to fucking people, one of these bears, that's his friend, is going down and getting closer, and they're throwing rocks at it to try and get it to go away, because bears should not want to be around us, because we did decimate their population, like in Brother Bear. That sad part. Yeah, right? And he's like, oh, these guys are so bad. You see, this is why I have to be here to protect these bears. You caused this problem, sir. You put these bears in danger. You got the one killed that got killed for you dying, which it's sad that he died. It's way more sad that Annie. Annie. I think.
Did you listen to the audio?
So I have heard the audio before, but when I was discussing that with my husband, he said that supposedly any audio that's been released is fake, because the girlfriend of the deceased who has the tape refuses to listen to it or share it because it's so bad. She let Warner Herzog listen to it in the documentary, and he had her stop it before it was over, and he said, have you listened to this? And she said, no. And he said, don't ever do it. Don't let other people listen to it. Don't even keep it. Just burn it or something, because it's always going to be bugging you, and you're going to want to listen to this, and you should never listen to this.
A loved one.
And no one should ever listen to this. And I get it, because like what I heard on what I was told was like, because I looked it up.
Well, from what I understand, she was telling, if it's true, it may not be like you said. She was saying like fight back, and he wasn't, obviously. Or he was trying to.
Well, you can hear her fighting.
She's hitting him. She's
hitting the bear with a fucking frying pan.
Yeah,
like a
cast iron frying pan, right?
And he's
the
telling
bear
her to run.
Leaves. Yeah, at the end, he tells her to run. At first, he was like, "Help me, help me, help me," and then at this point,
fuck him for asking her for help.
Yeah,
you put you in this situation. You said you'd be okay, and this is why I have to be okay with what I say I'm okay with. Because he said he'd be okay with it. He put her in danger, and then he put her in more danger. Instead of being like, run to the fucking truck and save your own goddamn life, he asks her for help first, before then being like...
And then he realizes there is no help. So go.
But also, you put yourself in the bare fucking middle, or the dead center of what is called the Grizzly Maze up in Alaska, and there's thousands of bears, and they're all hungry and getting ready for the winter.
The bear came back for her. Like, I'm pretty sure the bear left. Did it leave with him? Or did it just leave?
I think it did take him off with it, or it dragged him off a ways and was eating on him.
And then
she was still there.
Yeah, because she didn't get enough
for
time
her while she's like, oh my god, it's coming back, because she doesn't know what to do. She's stuck in a little fucking tent. She doesn't have a fucking truck available. Like, she probably can't get to the truck. I think they would have had to hike some ways. I had read about this once
they had
before.
to, because they weren't where they were not where they were supposed to be because of the bears. You weren't supposed to be there because it was part of the bears' migration area, and it was like just filled with all these bears.
And technically, like, I guess technically he could have been there, and at the same time he was supposed to keep a specific amount of distance, which he didn't.
And he was supposed to.
Yeah. Federal laws, you have to move once a week. If you are camped out on federal land, not paying, you're just living on this land, you're supposed to change your campsite by 1 mile every week. He didn't want to do that because then he couldn't be there to protect the bears. Which is just bullshit, because bears don't need anything from us other than us to leave them the fuck alone. Like, the fact that they've been around... So, they've been around since the megafauna of what the fuck ever died off. So, all those gigantic animals, like the short-nosed bear and stuff, you know, all those gigantic, scary, terrifying things, like, the second they died off, bears took over as pretty much one of the biggest land predators. Not just in America, but in the continent of the Americas, as well as Europe and... Asia. They're not really big in Africa, although there is one bear that's native to Africa, I think. Or, no, there was one bear that was native to Africa, and it went extinct within the last 200 years, I think. But they're so resilient, which is why most cultures do have an association for strength and power with them. But they're also wonderful parents, especially for predators. Most predators don't take care of them.
They have a perfect balance of energies. Because I was talking to my husband. When I think of bear, sometimes I think of a big, strong, manly man. Big, strong, hairy, manly man. But then the reality is, bear comes with that mother bear as well. So it's very dual.
It is, very much so. Because like you had mentioned earlier that it's very big in the Slavic culture. And it's like bears are representative of your husband, your father, the masculine figure that takes care of you.
Yeah.
Because they don't just see the bears as an enemy up there. I think they have a worse personification of wolves than they do of bears. They see bears as like the big forest protector. He's the king of the forest. He's due respect because, you know, foraging is such a big part of that culture. The forest is very important. The ecosystem in the forest is very important to them, you know. But bears are also very important in Norse mythology as well, in all the same ways. Like, but in Norse and Slavic mythology, one thing I found very interesting, I know we're getting to a close, but I didn't want to mention it in the last episode because I really wanted to bring it up in this one. There's this whole thing about, like, you know, we talk about werewolves. There's this whole thing about werebears.
Fuck yeah.
Like, and they're not called werebears. Like,
Oh, is
in
that where
bear shape.
the brave comes from? That I don't know if you ever ended up watching that one.
Didn't, but I think it's the same thing.
Like
as
the mother turns into this.
in Disenchantment.
Yes.
There's a similar thing in the second season. They come upon, and I was looking for the word of that. All I could find was bear shape. In Slavic culture, they refer to it as bear shape when either you have a bear skin that you put on, or you get cursed to be a bear because of wrongdoing, so you can learn to be better.
Mm-hmm.
But in Norse mythology, there's a lot of belts or cloaks or skins that people put on to.
Oh, the berserkers used to wear those.
Exactly. Yes, and they were. Somebody had said like the werebears are based on berserkers, but they're also parts of other mythologies as well. I just like bears are the bomb, but leave them alone. Do not fucking get out of your car at goddamn Yellowstone.
Fucking for real. Seriously.
Remember, when you habituate bears to people and you are like, well, I'm different and I love them, you're putting them in danger because even if they're cool with you, they're going to approach somebody else and they're going to be like, I know people are cool, and the other person maybe isn't so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe the other person has a gun. Or maybe the other person is going to call 911, and all of a sudden, there's going to be a lot of bears in the park getting sniped down.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I used the wrong word, but you guys know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I love talking about the animals, and we could probably say more things about bears, but I mean, like, they're very versatile animals, which is why the ways that you can use them in magic and spirituality is so versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why they've survived for so long and branched out so little compared to some of the other animals that we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that there's so many different kinds of wolves. There's so many different kinds of corvid corvus,
right.
But with bears, there's 8. I just found that highly interesting.
That is very interesting.
That was the information my husband wanted to prove me wrong about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I said there were more kinds of wolves than kinds of bears according to my research. And he was like, you're wrong. And I was like,
Were you right?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
He didn't say shit because I was right.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Men be like that. Bears and men alike.
Is there anything else you can think to add about bears?
Probably, but I'm tired.
You're tired. I know.
Like,
I'm over here,
I could go on about the animals
for
forever.
So long.
I could find a soapbox moment again.
I know. I
could
talk a little bit more about pandas.
I know. I didn't really do
honestly,
much
I would
pandas.
say that bears, I mean, obviously, we're probably not going to do this, but bears is so much, it could even be a part 1, part 2 thing. Not saying that that's something we should do, but I am saying there's just so much to talk about in terms of bears. And I think there was another episode, an animal episode, that was this long.
Wolves, we did split it into.
We did.
We're going to do dogs and coyotes and foxes and stuff separately. But I will say my favorite thing. Okay, before we go, my favorite thing about this research was learning the thing about caniformia because I've always looked at like a seal and it's like they're so dog-like and they're so
they are
like bear-like, and bears and dogs are very similar. And at one point, they actually thought that bears evolved from dogs.
Look at a German Shepherd's face.
I know, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I loved learning about caniformia because my eyes were telling me this thing is true. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just didn't know it.
Right.
So what was your favorite new thing that you learned about bears for the episode?
So I guess it's not like I learned it a long time ago, but it reminded me. The fact that bears can hold on to not embryos, but like
zygotes.
Yes.
Zygote.
I remember learning that years ago, and it was a nice refresher talking about it because I just thought
that's
that was so
insane.
Cool.
It is
that
insane.
Is so cool.
And
because
like
in the documentary that I watched about that they talked about that was specifically she had gone to sleep for the hibernation, not pregnant, and she woke up and started gaining weight, and she was pregnant, and she didn't even have sex at the time. It was just waiting for its right moment, and that is so crazy.
That's so cool. That is. The more you know, and the more you know, the more you find out that magic is everywhere in the world. Because
Literally.
that is fucking magical. That a bear's body, a female bear's body, can know that getting fucked means we should release an egg so we can have a baby, but also let's just let that baby chill until it's a good time for me.
Mm-hmm. I
Magic.
wish humans were like that.
I know, magic. But do you guys, what's you guys' favorite things about bears? Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And while you're there making a comment, go ahead and like and subscribe. We would love to have you as a subscriber so you can always be told when our new episodes release.
Yes, you can find us on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot.
You can find us on the X at Classiest Witches because we are the classiest witches you know. And Death by DVD.
Pam
and Victoria already know this as well. That's why there are supporters on patreon.com/Witches Talking Tarot. And for as little as $6 a month, you can be one too. So thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell. A fuzzy little cute little spell. But don't pet them.